Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Marybeth, and I am here to help you on your spiritual awakening and your journey to self-discovery. So a little bit about myself. My name is Marybeth, and my spiritual awakening happened at the beginning of the year of this year, January 2023. But my journey to self-discovery kind of started in the year 2020 during the pandemic. I had my dark night of the soul. And then I started going to therapy, which led me on a path to healing trauma, discovering trauma. I had repressed memories, so working through those, and then just doing a lot of shadow work. And I know a lot of shadow work can be really intimidating, but hopefully I'm here to help you kind of realize that it doesn't have to be so scary. And once you start doing it, it can be really freeing, really freeing. So today I want to talk about mindfulness specifically. Mindfulness, I believe, is a type of meditation. And when I talk about meditation, or if anyone talks about meditation, I feel like a lot of people believe that it's this one type of doing it where you're just sitting there quietly. You picture like yogis and Buddhists just sitting there in this trance, and then have this huge enlightenment. And that can be how it is, but it doesn't have to. There's lots of different modalities. Doing yoga, doing qigong, journaling. There's all different kinds of modalities of doing meditation, and mindfulness, I feel like, is such a great start. It's how I started, and I want to give you kind of the science behind why it works, and a way of practicing for yourself that can be used in your daily life. When you're feeling stressed and have those fight and flight moments, just a way of being able to work through those moments, because I see so many people talking about, how do you work through those moments? And I have found a way that worked for me, and I really hope that I can share this with you, because I know not everyone can go to therapy or feel like they have the time for therapy. And it's honestly just not even affordable a lot for a lot of people. So I'm sharing what worked for me, and hopefully it works and resonates with you, and we can really start healing and raising our vibration as a society, and helping each other with that. So the first thing I want to talk about with this practice is going to be breath work. So breath work is really important, and I know a lot of people hear about breath work as well. Like, you're having a panic attack or you're feeling anxiety and someone says, take a deep breath, and you're like, I don't want to take a deep breath, or you try to take a deep breath. But I'm going to tell you why you're supposed to and why it works. This is something I learned more in of a spiritual, during my spiritual awakening. So once I did my therapy and then I had my spiritual awakening, everything kind of went together so beautifully. And so this is what I learned. And so let me explain. So when you are in a fight or flight mode, think about how your breath is working. Normally it's shallow and fast paced. So when you go back to our primal roots, when we had to survive, when we were catching our own food, making our own shelters, and there were real life or death situations like a bear or a tiger coming after you, your body would produce cortisol in your body so that you could get the adrenaline to fight or fight off these dangers that were really life-threatening. And so when you have those chemicals in your body, you start to just be able to breathe faster and run faster, fight faster, and so you start having those shallow breaths. And so you're actually able to train and trick your body into knowing that you're not in a fight or flight situation. So a lot of the times when we're having anxiety or we're stressed out, we're not really in danger. But there is so much stress to our lives now. You can turn on the news and you can be watching something that's happening miles away or around the world, and it can stress you because it does seem like a like a something you need to survive. You see fires that are happening, and it seems like a threat to your life. But when in all reality, you're just at home and you're safe. So bringing yourself back to your body is what's so important, and that's what mindfulness and meditation does, is bringing you to your present moment. So the first thing you want to do if you're feeling like you are in a stressful situation and you're in fight or flight, you want to, if you can, remove yourself from wherever that stressful situation is. Turn off the news. If you can go into a separate room, if it's something where there's an argument going on, if your children are being really loud and it's triggering you. For me, and I'll try to give this example, I get stressed, or I did get stressed. Sometimes I get stressed still too, but I don't need to do quite as much. And that's what's so wonderful about what I'm going to teach you, is if you practice it enough, you don't have to do all of these steps. But it's really important in the beginning to practice it all the way through, and then once you start getting the hang of it and you start realizing what triggers you, you will be able to work through it a lot faster and not have to go through all those steps. So remove yourself from the situation if you can, and then for me, what used to stress me out was messes, and what works best if you can remove yourself is to go outside, and I will explain in detail why outside is so wonderful in healing. But removing yourself from the situation is best. And so if you're like me and it's messes that stress you out, and you have kids and all of your rooms might seem a little messy, going outside if you can is really, really great. So my explanation on why messes, so I'm going to explain why messes for me really triggered me, and why that put me into a fight or flight. And this has to do with shadow work too. So when I explain this, it'll help. What it did for me is it helped me understand why I got so stressed and got into that fight or flight mode, and was able to get into my body and work through it and realize that I am in fact safe. So for me, and for I believe a lot of people, we would grow up in environments where there was abuse, or we grew up and were in relationships that were abusive, and for me, it was messes. A lot of times when there was messes in the house, it meant that there was going to be an argument between the parental family in my environment. And so for me, or not even for me, when you're younger, the person taking care of you, so whether that's a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, uncle, a sibling even, they are your survival. And so when things aren't peaceful for them, that means that your safety is in jeopardy, and so that'll trigger your fight or flight mode. And so so when you see your parent out of balance, or your the person raising you out of balance, then that puts you in that mode. And so for me, when there were messes that caused arguments in my home, and that in turn would make me feel like I wasn't safe. And so just having that from my childhood, it brought that into my adulthood. And so when I had kids and there were messes, it would trigger me. It would trigger that response in me. And the funny thing is that it wasn't needed anymore. I was safe. There wasn't going to be arguments. My husband's wonderful, and and you know, hopefully you're in that kind of environment now where you can find yourself in a safe spot, and that this can work for you. And if not, just finding the fact that's triggering you, or what's triggering you, and if it's still an issue, then you really need to find yourself a safe space and to try to work your way out of that. So hopefully that's helpful for you as well. So when we are in that fight or flight response, we're normally reliving the past or anticipating the future. So if there was a mess in my home, I would associate that with an unsafety, and then I would picture like, okay, well, this is going to cause this. And so that's why it's important to center and go internal. So so I would like to go outside, and the great thing about being outside is that it is also, the earth is very grounding. So that helps you bring you into your body. You have things called chakras in your feet, and the magnetic pull of the earth actually helps you ground into your body so that you're in the moment. And then the next thing that you're going to do is your breathing. And so remove yourself and then start your breathing. And you're going to start trying to do more deep breaths. So not from your chest and your lungs where you're having adrenaline coming through. You want to breathe nice and deep. You can even put your hands on your stomach to make sure that it's coming from your stomach and your diaphragm, and deep breaths. So you want to go in through your nose and then out through your mouth. And you want the out breath to be longer than the in breath. So you can do like, I do like a 3-7 or a 4-7, 1, 2, 3, and then out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and that will help calm the brain waves and get you into a state where you're not putting all of this cortisol into your body. And then the next thing is connecting to your body and the present moment. So you're going to go through your 5 senses. And so normally what I do is I normally try to find something that I can physically touch. So touch is the first thing that I normally go to. And for example, I've got my crystal here with me. I've got lots of crystals with me. Now I have crystals everywhere. But touching it and then identifying different things about that through your sensories. So the first thing, touch, but really go into it, into details, so that it can pull you. The more details you can have, the more connected into your body and into that present moment that you'll be able to do. So looking at the rock and being like, okay, it's hard, but it's also smooth. You know, I've got a really smooth side, I've got a bumpy side, it's really pointy right here. Looking at the color, so looking at with first sight, you know, it's white, but it's also got these really great gray speckles in them. And then if you are outside, which is another thing, not only is there the magnetic pull, but there's also nature, which really connects you to the earth and stuff. So listening to birds, listening to the rain, smelling the rain, and then I'm trying to think where I was going with that one, but just connecting to the different senses. And another thing, if you're inside and you have fruit is another really good one. Fruit, vegetables, any kind of food really, because then you can taste it. And like an orange, you can sit there and you can open the orange, you can smell it, you can feel it, the juices, you can taste it, the smell of it, just start going through and really, really going into details with all of your senses. And another thing is, if you don't have, so say you, like for me, I've just got my rock. I'm not going to sit here and taste my rock. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. Think about things that you do like to eat and taste, because that'll really start bringing you into this. When you start thinking about the things that you love, it really brings you inside and internal. So One of the things I used to do was my coffee. I'd always have my coffee in therapy, and I'd have my coffee and I'd have to center when I was getting really worked up doing any sessions. And so I'd always be like, oh, I can taste my coffee. I can smell my coffee, the warm cup in my hand, watching the steam rising. So thinking about the things that you really love and really going inside and into the present moment, or internal, where the things that you really love, because it's the ego mind that tells you what you need to worry about in the past and the future, but it's your soul that tells you the things that you love. And so yeah, visualizing things that are around you or visualizing the things that you love will really help you get centered. Okay, so if you're having a stressful moment, you want to do your breathing exercise, remove yourself from the situation if you can, and then start going through your senses, different things. Touch. I wrote it down because I always forget one. What is it? Sight, smell, taste, sound, touch. So go through those 5 senses. And then hopefully, it can take 5 minutes. If you really need a long time, start having, 3 of each. That way you're really grounding yourself. And I think that I mentioned that being outside is really important, and the magnetic pole. If you can't do all these senses and all you can do is just go outside and put your feet into the ground, that's really important and really, really helpful. All right, so the more you practice this, also, the better it's going to get. Now, if I have a mess in my home and I'm really stressed out, I can normally just breathe through it. I don't have to go outside. I don't have to ground myself. I don't have to go through all of my senses. But normally you can start practicing this, and then get to a point where you don't have to do all of the steps. And realize, okay, this is what's triggering me, and now I know that I am in a safe spot, or this isn't necessarily going to happen, because we can't tell the future. We only can identify with the past and what the past has taught us. So yes, this is a little bit of a longer video, but I really hope that this helps everyone when they are in those fight-flight modes. There are so many things that can be stressful in this world right now, and I really hope that I can help people through all of these stressful moments, and realize that we can get to a core loving spot and not have to be so triggered by so many things. So yes, I really hope this helps. Much love and light to all, and I will talk to you soon.